Hey guys, out here working on the boat today, and I thought I would share my experience and what I was taught with you all. So if you're having the same problem that I am, you have the tools, or at least the knowledge and the demo to show you how to do it. I'm sure you can probably find something else on YouTube if you need more information, but after I post the video, if you have questions, shoot me a message and I'll get back to you. So today what I'm going to do is refinish the top cap of the boat and work on the fenders, the fiberglass fenders of the trailer and the side of the boat. When I bought this boat, it was extremely oxidized, and I don't know if I can get the angle so that you can see it, but so this portion of the boat right here is extremely dull. It's very oxidized. The whole boat was worse than this when I bought it, and I did it once and I just didn't get deep enough. And we're just about all the way through the season up here in the Northeast for bass fishing. The boat has been on the water and out in the sun and everything else. This is the side that I did already today. You should be able to see an immediate difference in the color and the flash and the depth of the color. It takes a lot of work to be able to get it like that. And then I'll show you the fiberglass fender. It's shining pretty good. It's got just about a mirror finish. Nice and smooth. It looks good. And then all the way down the side of the boat with the silver flake, if you've got a silver flake boat, you might have an issue with oxidation, and when oxidation occurs, it yellows. There's really only one way to get that out: if it's gotten deep enough, if it's gotten too deep. So a couple of things that you're going to have: obviously a wash bucket with clean water, and then some 3M wet dry sandpaper. This is 2000 grit, and that's all I'll use. I don't usually need anything to cut more than that. Make sure you got a good rag. Other things you're going to need: 3M marine rubbing compound. This one is for heavy oxidized and scratched finishes. What I like to do is use just a cheap paintbrush, and I'll show you what I use that for whenever we get ready to put that on. A rag a dry rag that's clean to wipe down the boat when needed, and then what I'm using is Meguiar's Flagship Premium Marine Wax. You can use any marine wax, and then a rag to apply that wax when you're ready. You're also going to need a buffing pad, a high-speed buffer. This is just a cheap one. You can get it at any Harbor Freight. You can buy these pads separate. And then the last thing you're going to need is a buffing pad for the wax after you're done. So this is for the rubbing compound, and the softer cotton one will be for the marine wax. I've already washed the boat down and let it dry so you could see how heavily oxidized it was, and with all the scratches and everything. Also, you can see how yellowed the side is right there in the white. Now I'll go back over to the other side and show you the difference. Of course, we're in the shade over here, but you should be able to tell that that's a bright white compared to what it was. So I'll have this focused in on this area right here. You should be able to see how oxidized it is, as well as this area right here. And you can see that it's not really shiny where that silver clear is, and if you look down, you can kind of see how it's yellowed. And when I'm done, all that'll be gone. It'll be nice and a brilliant shine. So I'm gonna get started. Okay, so I've got a storm coming. See it coming behind me. And I may not finish this, but what I wanted to show you was, all right, so all the white, milky looking substance, that's the oxidation and part of the clear coat coming off. So what you're doing is you're removing it, but you're removing it in very small amounts. That's why we're using 2000 grit sandpaper. And actually when you're going through and you're doing this, doing it by hand, obviously the best way to do it, you don't want to use any type of machine to get down or cut through, because then you end up cutting too far. And this is a process that's really done best when it's done by hand, because you can feel some of the imperfections, you can feel the rough marks, the scuffs, you can feel the bad stuff. So you'll know, you can see the difference in this piece here, how shiny that's gotten, as opposed to right over here where it's still very yellowed and oxidized. And I've got to cut down through that in order to get to the next step. So I just want to let you know that when you're doing this, you want to rub until you start to see the milky substance, and then you can start to differentiate all that yellowing stuff that's coming off. That's part of that oxidation, and you want all that gone. So do the process by hand, feel the imperfections. You can get a lot of them out, and just don't go too deep. And that's why it's important to use a good wet sandpaper and not something that's too abrasive. You could even use a 2500 or a 3000 grit if you wanted to. This shortens the process for me. It's going to allow me to keep going. So I'm going to pause for now. We'll start another video when I get ready to get to the next step. That way you don't have to watch me do the whole side of the boat. Hey, welcome back. So the thunderstorms came and I was able to go inside and hang out for a little while. And fortunately, it dried up enough so that I could come out and finish my initial step, which was the wet sanding with the 2000 or 2500 grit sandpaper, whichever you wanted to use. So take a look down this side of the boat. What I've done is I've removed the majority of the scratches in the gel coat. Actually, I just see a little cloudy area right here that I may have missed, but the rubbing compound should take care of that. This fender looks a lot better. Took out a lot of the top layer scratches. It's got actually a little bit of a shine to it, and as we go through the next couple of steps, that will improve dramatically overall. So we actually have a white side over here like it's supposed to, and some of the silver sparkle has come back out. All of the yellow oxidation that was on the top is gone. Got a decent little shine going there, but that's not really what we want. That's not what we're aiming for anyway. So as I said, one of the things you were going to need was a 3M marine grade rubbing compound and scratch remover. Got this little paintbrush. I'll show you what I do with that. Got a dish from inside. Got to make sure this is shuck up real good. And I like to use it in a Tupperware bowl like this. A couple of good squirts is about all it's going to take. It takes quite a bit. I mean, it's a big 21-foot boat and we're doing an entire side, so it's good to have your brush a little bit wet. You don't have to. So here's what I do. Pick out the area you're going to start on. If it's a real heavily oxidized area, you probably want to get a little more compound on there. This area was heavily oxidized here, so I'm going to paint this area up real good. Now, as you're going down the boat, if you've got areas that weren't really heavily oxidized, you could just put a little bit, every little bit down like that, and then that's gonna spread with your buffing wheel as you go down through there. So I'm going to continue putting this on, try to get done before this rain kicks up again, and I'll show you this step of the process. Okay, so the weather simply isn't cooperating with me right now. The surface has started to improve. I'm getting water beading, getting a lot of the micro scratches, so on and so forth, out of the gel coat, and it's starting to look better. Problem is the rain has started. It's really putting a damper on things. It took a lot longer to work that compound with the buffer because it started to rain. I've got a few small areas I'm going to finish by hand, and then I'm going to wash. So that's one thing I didn't say. In between your wet sanding, in between your compounding, and in between your waxing, you want to wash the boat. Make sure that you get all the dirt and everything off. Obviously, I said I washed it before I started, so you want to do that as well. I've got quite a bit left to finish. I didn't get to do the rub and compound on the fiberglass fender covers, wheel covers, and I've got some dark spots in the top cap, and that's just that what's already been taken off the boat, the oxidation mixed with the rub and compound that I wasn't able to get completely off of that buff and wheel. So I'm gonna go finish that by hand, and then we may have to wait for another day for me to show you the last step. Thanks. Hey guys, welcome back. Had to wait a couple of days in between steps, so this is the third step. I'll back off a little bit and I'll show you the boat. You can see how it looks now compared to when we first started. Hopefully there's a better view there. This is all nice and smooth now. It's all cleaned off. The shine has returned. A lot of the oils from the the rub and compound have been able to repenetrate and create a glossy surface. All the micro scratches and stuff like that are out. One thing that I didn't do before I started the camera was wash the boat off. So I probably need to do that, and I'm gonna allow it to dry. Once that's done, I'll turn the camera right back on and show you the application of the marine wax. Oh yeah, and there's the fender. Big, huge improvement over what it was. Took out a lot of the bad spots, a lot of the cracks, nice and smooth, glossy, and that's gonna look so much better. The whole thing's gonna look so much better once that wax is on.